Hello everyone, welcome to Album Countdown. Today we're going to look at one of the best-selling albums of all time, and one of my favorites, AC/DC's Back in Black. So a little history about this album. On February 19th, 1980, AC/DC's lead singer Bon Scott died from choking on his own vomit after a night of binge drinking. Just 40 days later, after Bon's father told the young brothers Angus and Malcolm to keep the band going, they brought on Brian Johnson from the band Geordie. Coincidentally, Bon Scott said that if they needed to replace him for whatever reason, they should look at Brian Johnson. So Back in Black was AC/DC's first album with Brian Johnson, but Bon Scott still had a major impact even in death. In particular, the title track was meant as a tribute to him, and the black cover and bell at the beginning of Hell's Bells were meant to symbolize their grief over his death. And to be honest, I hope someone makes a movie about that time for AC/DC, because there's plenty of material there to work with. But anyway, the album was hugely successful, topping the charts in the UK and the band's home country of Australia, and reaching number 4 in the US. And at the time of this recording, it has sold over 50 million copies worldwide and been certified 27 times platinum by the RIAA, making it the second highest selling album ever. But enough about the history, let's get to the list, shall we? Number 10, Let Me Put My Love Into You. So this is one of those albums where none of the songs are bad, but this song doesn't really work for me. Brian Johnson's vocals seem off in a few places, and the lyrics give me a bad feeling about the narrator. But I will say Angus Young's guitar work is still very good. Number 9, Givin' the Dog a Bone. This is one song I have trouble figuring out what it's about. That's why I have it here. From what I could find, it seems to be about sex, which is a common theme for rock and roll songs. It's not a terrible song, but it's not particularly great either. Number 8, Shoot to Thrill. So this is one of those songs I think is overrated. I mean, the fast beat is pretty catchy, and Brian Johnson's vocals are great for the most part. But the lyrics don't really work for me, and like Givin' the Dog a Bone, I can't figure out what it's about exactly. Number 7, What Do You Do for Money, Honey? So this song starts off with some pretty good drum and guitar work from Phil Rudd and Angus Young. Then Brian Johnson starts singing and questions how a girl is able to live like she does, likely by hooking up with rich men and feeding off of them. So this is a topic I don't hear very much in rock and roll, and I think they do a good job with it. So for Back in Black, I'd say Shoot to Thrill is the most overrated song, but What Do You Do for Money, Honey is the most underrated song. Number 6, Shake a Leg. If you ask me, Side B is where this album really rocks. And this is one of those songs that makes you want to shake more than just a leg. So this song is about encouraging people to go against authority, and the fast beat really helps to keep the listeners engaged. And Brian Johnson's screeching really adds to that message, as if he's urging them almost. Number 5, Have a Drink on Me. So if you've seen any of those Twisted Tea commercials lately and wondered what song was playing in the background, this is that song, and it's a real hidden gem. This one is about indulging in booze and just enjoying the present moment. This song also has some of Phil Rudd's best drum work, and Angus Young does a little Eddie Van Halen towards the end, which is a treat to hear. And Brian Johnson's vocals also have a bit of a laid-back attitude, which actually fits this song perfectly. So yeah, this one I'd say is also underrated. Number 4, You Shook Me All Night Long. This is one I heard a good amount when I was younger. I didn't pay much attention to the lyrics at the time, mainly because I just wanted some good music to listen to, and my dad had that on his phone. So this one is about a sexual interaction where the woman does more than the man, and it really has an impact on the man. Brian Johnson's vocals on this one are higher than usual, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it could seem like he's still recovering, so to speak, from that encounter. My only real complaint is that the main guitar riff isn't as memorable. And now we've reached the podium. Number 3. Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. Now this is one of the best album closers you will ever hear. Angus starts with a quieter riff, but once Brian Johnson hits the chorus, he gets louder and it's a real headbanger. Brian Johnson's voice is at its best on this song as he sings about the power of rock and roll and how it'll live on forever. True dat. And honestly, I think this is another song that doesn't get as much love as it deserves. Number 2. Back in Black. This, of course, is one of AC/DC's signature songs, and for good reason. Like I said, this song is a tribute to Bon Scott. The main riff is one of the most famous and recognizable riffs ever, and the chorus really makes you want to sing along with Brian Johnson. And they do an excellent job paying tribute to Bon Scott with a song that, like the man himself, will live on forever. And finally, number 1, Hell's Bells. Some of you may be surprised that the title track isn't in the number 1 spot. It was certainly a contender, but for me, Hell's Bells takes the top spot. This song starts off with a bell, which, as I said, was meant to symbolize their grief over Bon Scott's death. Then Angus Young gets into the main guitar riff, Phil Rudd gets into the main drum beat, and around the 90-second mark we hear Brian Johnson's high screechy voice for the first time in his AC/DC career. Add in Malcolm Young and Cliff Williams and it all comes together fantastically. And when you look at the lyrics, which are about impending doom and confronting death, I'm not so sure Bon Scott's voice would have worked with those lyrics. Although I wouldn't be surprised if this was meant as another tribute to him. And that's Back in Black. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if there's an album you want me to look at, let me know. And Bon Scott, rest in peace, man. Till next time, this is the Countdown DJ, signing off.